Hi and hello my spectators. In this video, the other restless spirit and I will present to you 5 assertions for the payroll and personal cycle in auditing. So, basically, the overall objective of this cycle in audit is to evaluate whether the account balance affected by the cycle are fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The mission of this video is to must finish until the last assertion to get out from the conjuring house. Prepare yourself.
Hello, it's me from the Perch. I'm not gonna take your life on our first meet. Maybe my friend will after this. Alright, back to your mission. Listen, the classification of functions objective in payroll and personnel is to check whether all transactions are correctly classified in the proper account. As there are 2 main transactions in this cycle, so the accounts affected to this cycle are cash account, bank account, inventory account, direct and indirect labor account, and also payroll payable for the payroll transactions. Meanwhile, for the accrual payroll liability transactions, there are cash account and various accrual accounts such as EPF and so. This account have to properly recorded. If not, you have to review again your journals. Next, the internal control procedure involved in this assertion is the classification of chart of account and proper internet verification and independent approval. Also, review for accounts charged to payroll. For the task of control, auditor must review client's procedure and inspect their records to verify there has been proper classification of employee benefit costs. So, the audit evidence that involved in this task are payroll check, job time card, rate authorization form, and deductions authorization form. But if there is mistake in recording information to the wrong account, the possible misstatement such as transactions in payroll cycle will not be properly. So, if the misstatement happens, auditor must do a substantive test by selecting transactions from the payroll journal and check their classification with chart of accounts. The audit evidence involved are payroll journal, of course, payslip and bank transfer advice. Even so, if the substantive test is failed to do, the material misstatement of net income will happen. So, that's all for classification in payroll and personnel cycle. You may continue your journey in this house. Good luck.
I have a bad feeling. Strange things are happening in this house.
List from as of control are income for sequence of payroll checks, discussing employees and also reconciliation, and must be terminary consequence of the time over records and reconciliation of payroll summary as matters and erased. And this and the other evidence from the test of control. For such countries that the consult is involved for the disbursement in the payroll system with disbursement for the payroll time period. Second, providing proof from the bank reconciliation. And as follows how the audit operates. I listen. There are two possible statements here. The first one is services provided by employees are not recorded. The second one is omission from any transaction that should have been recorded and disclosed arise.
Hey, I'm Occurrence. My parents is Assertions, and yes, I am an educated creature. I came from audit family. And now, let's hear a story about myself. I live in a payroll and personnel cycle. Live up to my name, Occurrence. My principle of life is all disclosed payroll transactions must have been occurred, and all recorded payroll payments are valid and made for existing employees. I can relate this with the objective of my life, which is to check whether all recorded payroll payments are for work actually performed by existing employees. Let me tell you on how I control my life or maybe my family. First and foremost, the time records should be approved by an authorized person or supervisor. Next, an adequate human resources file must be maintained to prevent from overpayments and payments to non-existent employees. There should be a separation of duties among human resources, timekeeping, and payroll disbursement. Only employees existing in the computer data files are accepted when entered. Last but not least, time clock should be used to record time. All of you must be wondering how I test the control so that it is how it should be. There are two ways. First is the test of control. I examine time records for indication of approvals, and this is very important for hourly employees. Next, review human resource policies and human resource files. I will also review organization chart, discuss with employees, and observe duties being performed. I observe and evaluate segregation of duties, examine printouts of transactions rejected by the computer as having non-existent employees number, and I also examine payroll records for indication of approval. So these are the evidence I use for testing. The second way is substantive testing. In this type of audit procedure, I review the payroll journal, general ledger, and payroll earning records for large or unusual transactions or amounts. I compare cancelled checks or direct deposit information with human resource records or payroll journal for name, amount, and date. These are the evidence for the testing. The internal control are very important to prevent from possible misstatements such as payment made to fictitious employees, payment made to terminated employees, and misstatement of payroll expense account. And last but not least, these are the accounts in my life, which is payroll and personnel cycle.
Hi everyone, the next section is accuracy. Basically, accuracy is when all purchases are accurately recorded. To check whether all purchases are accurately recorded is the other objective of this session. Next, we move to class of transactions relevant book. There is 4 classes of transactions and relevant book which contain of payroll taxable, payroll tax or deductions, general overhead expenses, and payroll overhead expenses. The internal control for accuracy session is: first, calculation and amount are internally verified. Second, the batch totals are compared with. After that, wage rate and salary, also commission rate, is properly authorized. And lastly, the holdings including amount for insurance and payroll savings are properly authorized. There is two types of audit procedure, which is test of control and substantive test. Under test of control, there is 4 audit procedure. Firstly, examine indication of internal verifications. Then, examine file of batch totals for initials of data control work and compare totals to summary reports. Next, examine payroll records for indication of authorizations. Lastly, examine authorizations in human resource file. There is substantive test. There is 5 of audit procedure. Then, compare pay rate, union contract work by board of directors and others. Next, we compare hours worked for time employed. Not only that, it also compares cancel check or direct deposit with payroll journal for amount. And finally, check withholdings by referring tax tables and authorization from in HR file. Last but not least, we have other evidence for both test of control and substantive test. For the audit evidence of test of control, it consists of payroll check, job time card, rate and deduction authorization form. Meanwhile, substantive test consists of payroll journal, payslip or salary slip, and bank transfer advice. Finally, possible statement for this assertion is employee payroll deduction could be completely correct. That's all from me. Thank you for lending your ear.
Hello, I am Pennywise, your dancing clown. Do you want some balloon? So, we're gonna move to the night session, which is cut off, where all purchases for the accounting period are recorded completely. For the audit objective is to check whether all purchases for the accounting period are recorded completely. Move to the cluster section and relevant account. For the first one is account payable balance, payroll expenses account and gross wage expenses account. Next, internal control, where payroll transactions are recorded in the correct accounting period. Review and approve recorded time. Segregation of duties for tasks involved in recorded and review accounting period. To test for overstatement cut-off amount. These are internally verified. Record transactions as soon as possible after payroll is paid. Next, test of control. The first one is compare the deposit date on payroll check and entry date in payroll register. Review duties and tasks. Examine procedure manual and observe when recording take place. Examine indication of internal verification. For the audit evidence, payroll record, deduction authorized form, and time record. For substantive tests, compare accrued verification to prior period and current payroll activity. Examine support documentation and receiving report number to the account payable records to verify that they are correctly included or excluded. Compare date of recorded payment in the payroll journal with date on cancelled check or direct deposit and time record. Audit evidence for substantive test is payroll journal, payroll payslip, general ledger and cancelled check.
Why? Why do you want to make a mistake? Do you want your bill back? For the possible misstatement of payroll expenses account, misstatement of commission expense and commission liability.
The last assertion is posting and summarization. Audit objective for this assertion is to check whether all payroll transactions are correctly included in the payroll master file and are correctly summarized. The accounts are payroll cash, payroll expense account, payroll accrual account, and payroll withholding account. You must ensure the payroll master file contents are internally verified and the totals are compared with the revised totals. You should test the internal control by adding an indication of internal verification and the initial summary data report that indicates the comparisons that have been made. You also have to detect the testing, which is tied to clerical accuracy by footing the payroll journal and tracing posting to the general ledger and payroll master file. Let me remind you on what she is using. Those are payroll master file, payroll general ledger, and payroll journal. The possible misstatement is misstatement in preparing master file and in finalizing calculate the cost, pay deduction, and net pay.
If this happened, I will give you justice.